I'd love your calls on whether we should tax millionaires leaving the country. 020 7862 2222. Tell us what you think, because we're being told now that if they put the squeeze on them, the rich people will leave, with many apparently fearing raids on their wealth. According to a think tank, the Adam Smith Institute, millionaires are being driven away from Britain by fears of high day-to-day taxes, possible changes to inheritance tax, capital gains tax, etc. And there are warnings that they are typically entrepreneurs, these people, and business owners. So if we lose them, we do really reduce the money for public services. So should we tax them on the way out? That is the question. Harriet.
Well, I think we should have a fair tax system, and the reality is that people who are extremely well off pay a lower percentage of their income in tax than ordinary everyday people going out to work, and that isn't fair.
Lower percentage. Because the figure I see is that 27% of the total tax take comes from the top 1% of earners.
Yes, but that's not about the amount of their income they pay in tax.
Oh, I see. It's not the percentage,
yes.
it's the actual...
It's about the percentage of how much income they've got, how much they pay compared to how much income an ordinary everyday person pays. So our tax system, you know, the more you have, the less of a percentage you contribute to the public purse to pay for the roads, the health service, the police, everything else. And I think we should have a fair tax system. And, you know, there are lots of loopholes that people employ to try and arrange things.
Do you agree with reform suggestion that those who earn up to 20k shouldn't pay any tax? Nigel Farage suggested this.
Well, I do think, and Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves have said, they definitely don't want to increase tax on people who are on low incomes, but they've got to make it fair for people all the way up.
But I mean, so you'd have 0 to 20,000, would you?
So where would you get the money from then for the police, for the health service, for educating our kids, for paying pensions, for paying for free prescriptions? Where would you get the money from if you actually meant that people didn't have to pay?
Well, like I said, I think it can be generated with big companies that benefit massively from the UK, that actually, when people suggest, oh, they'll leave, they wouldn't be able to leave because they generate money from us. Like I said, social media.
Well, Starbucks famously were licensing their logo in Amsterdam. They were paying themselves to license their own logo. I mean, how do we allow that to happen? Just look at individuals here. And of course, this is all about very wealthy people. And the thing about very wealthy people is they're sitting on money. They're not earning it. They may not be earning it day to day, but they've got a pile. Now, dealing with people with piles is harder.
Yeah, billionaires. We have to be clear, because if we're saying the wealthy, we need to find out firstly who the wealthy is, because 60% of all tax in 2023 was paid by the top 10%, including myself. So I think this whole idea of, OK, those who are sitting on it but are not earning, then how would you, because most of those people know how to hide their money.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, we're not judging. I mean, if someone's worked all their career, they've sold their business and they bought their wife a lovely necklace, do you tax the necklace when they paid for it out of taxed income? Yeah. Let's have a look at some people here. So Ed Sheeran, let's just go through these. I mean, the great thing is when you've got people who are artists who are rich, because comedians, guitarists, musicians, writers. So Sheeran, because then their money is made giving pleasure. So, I may be arguable in Ed's case, but I think he's great. 300 million with him. And I'll tell you how much tax they paid in a second. Rolling, worth nearly 1 billion. This woman, do you know who she is? She's the Bet365 boss. She's worth 7.5 billion. Tim Martin of Wetherspoons, worth £500 million. And then he's amazing, James Dyson, £23,000 million for Dyson, £23 billion. Okay, so Dyson we start with over here. How much tax did he pay last year? The guy's worth 23,000 million. He paid 156 million in tax. Tim Martin of Wetherspoons, 448 million. He's worth much less than Dyson, but he's paying roughly the same amount of tax. That's interesting. Denise Coates, very, very impressive lady, very wealthy as well. 376 million, in tax. And I'll explain what the significance of these figures is in a second. J.K. Rowling, worth $1 billion from writing books, so let's give her a break here, paid 40 million in tax last year. And then Sheeran, I do think he's blooming talented, Ed Sheeran. He paid 36 million in taxes from 300. So What do we say about this? You know, the answer, I suppose, is A, they're all paying a lot. B, they could all leave. And C, the amount that they're worth doesn't necessarily correlate with the amount they're paying in tax on their income, because people might have a whole hoard of money that they've earned previously and they're earning interest off it or whatever. But I don't know. The key question we're asking is whether, if one of them said they were leaving the country, Harriet, whether you'd hit them with a penalty.
Well, it's quite hard to see how this would work if you phrase it like that. It's not like you're going to get to Dover or get to Heathrow and say you can't take off because actually you're going to have to pay us. There is something about people not leaving with unpaid debts, but I think that this is just something that has actually been floated. And I think that Rachel Reeves will be looking at how to raise money for the health service, how to raise money for support for families with young children and schools. And she'll be trying to do it in a fair way, but she will not want to choke off creativity
okay, well, that's
or
good.
entrepreneurialism.
Well, if you look at that, so 776
why.
million in taxes paid by those 5 in 1 year. That's an amazing amount of money. The question is how you get them to pay more tax without pushing them out of the country. Or maybe you want to pay them to pay less.
But is there any...
we have seen loads leave already. In last year, over 4,000 millionaires left, and we only have 16,000.
OK, we're pushed for time. Let's just take Kathy in Cheshire. What do you want to say, Kathy?
Well, you've really covered everything I was going to say, because I said I think those who pay tax here, big money people, and they stay here and they pay the tax here, they deserve a pat on the back and some acknowledgement, which you've done. You've mentioned all those people, because we need those people. They keep a whole hospital running if they're paying 40 million in tax and amounts like that. They're brilliant. I think they're great. And I think it would also put a spotlight on those who don't, those who've managed the money and got it all abroad and aren't paying anything here. And they might be public heroes, okay, but when they find that out...
I'll just go to one more call very quick. Thank you, Kathy. Pearl in Argyll, very quickly, what do you want to say?
All I want to say is the rich get rich and the poor get poorer.
Thank you very much. After the break, it's the papers and everything else.